The Night Library. There are libraries in every town. Some are tall, grand buildings with echoing halls and rows of polished wood shelves. Some are small, warm places with only a few rooms and quiet, smiling librarians. And then there is the other kind. The night library is not listed on any map. You won't find it in town squares or beside city streets. It appears only when you are lost, tired, or in need of something you can't quite name. Few who enter ever find their way out again. Eleanor had been driving all night. The storm had come out of nowhere. Rain pounding the windshield, thunder splitting the dark sky. Her phone had no signal, and the GPS had frozen hours ago. She didn't know where she was anymore. When her headlights caught sight of a tall building looming through the rain, she nearly cried with relief. A library here in the middle of nowhere? The brick walls glistened in the stormlight, and its windows glowed softly. She pulled her car into the empty lot and ran through the downpour toward the heavy wooden doors. They opened easily as if waiting for her. Inside it was warm and dry. Rows of shelves stretched out in all directions, vanishing into shadow. There was no desk, no librarian, only the faint rustle of paper and the smell of old books. "Hello?" Eleanor called. No answer. But she was too tired to care. At least she was safe from the storm. She wandered between the shelves. Each book was strange. No titles on the spines, only faded symbols she didn't recognize. When she opened one, the pages were covered not in print, but in neat handwriting, and the words, "She froze," were her own. The first page described her childhood bedroom exactly. The second described the day she left home for the first time. The third, the trip she had taken last year. It was her life, written down in perfect detail. Eleanor closed the book quickly and shoved it back onto the shelf. Her hands trembled. Perhaps it was coincidence. Perhaps someone had written something very similar. She moved down the aisle, but every book she touched told her own story. Every choice, every moment, every thought. The library knew her. At the far end of the aisle, a figure waited, tall, pale, wearing robes the color of dust. Its face was not hidden, but it seemed to shift when she tried to look too closely, like a reflection in disturbed water. "You found your shelves," the figure said in a low voice. Eleanor's mouth went dry. "My shelves? Everyone has them," it said. "This is the library of lives. Every step you've taken has been written here." She shook her head. "That's impossible." The figure tilted its head. "And yet you've read it yourself." Eleanor took a step back. "I don't want this. I just need directions. I'll leave." The figure did not move. "Leave if you wish. The door's always open. But you came here for a reason, Eleanor." Her breath caught. "How do you know my name?" The keeper gave a slow, deliberate smile. "It's written everywhere." Eleanor fled down another aisle, not daring to look back. Here the shelves held books bound in darker leather. She pulled one down, opened it, and found pages filled with things that had not happened. At least not yet. The words described a job she had never taken, a man she had never met, a house she had never lived in. Her life as it could have been. She flipped through frantically, page after page of choices she had never made, roads she had never walked. And then she saw something that made her freeze. The pages shifted, and the book described her standing in the night library, opening a book, reading the words. The sentence trailed off into emptiness. The page was waiting for her next move. Her hands shook as she slammed the book shut. At last, she saw the main doors again. Relief flooded her chest. She ran to them, pulled them open, and found only another aisle of shelves waiting beyond. She slammed the doors shut and pressed her forehead against the wood. When she turned back, the keeper was standing only a few steps away. "Where are the exits?" she whispered. The figure's voice was patient, almost kind. "There are many. You may leave through your past, through your choices, or through your end. Which do you prefer?" Eleanor backed away. "I don't want any of those." The keeper nodded. "Then stay." "Many do. You'll never be alone here. You may read forever." She tried every path she could find. Some aisles whispered as she walked, voices echoing faintly from the shelves. She refused to touch those books, but the words still reached her ears. Her fears, her regrets, her secrets. Other aisles grew darker the farther she went, until the books dissolved into shadow and the shelves themselves vanished. When she turned back, the way behind had changed. Sometimes she swore she saw others in the distance, figures moving quietly between shelves. She called out once, but they turned to her with blank faces, like empty pages. She never called again. After hours or days, time meant nothing there. Eleanor found a final aisle, set apart from the rest. The books here were thin, their spines fragile. She touched one carefully, opened it, and saw only blank pages, except for the last. Her hand trembled as she turned to the final leaf. Written there, in the same neat handwriting, was a single line. Eleanor closed the book and stayed. Her heart raced. She snapped the book shut and shoved it back, shaking her head. "No, no, that's not how it ends." Behind her, the keeper's voice echoed softly. "It hasn't ended yet." The keeper stepped forward, silent as falling dust. "You've seen the shelves," it said. "You've read your past, your could-have-beens, and your end. What remains is yours to choose." Eleanor closed her eyes. The endless aisles pressed in on her. The whispering voices grew louder. She wanted the storm again, the car, even the uncertainty of the road. Anything but this. "Please," she begged. "I just want to go home." The keeper regarded her. For a long moment it said nothing. Then it lifted one hand and gestured to a book near her feet. "This one," it said. "Choose it." Eleanor bent down slowly and picked it up. The cover was plain. The pages inside were empty, every one. Her breath caught. "What does it mean?" The keeper's voice was quiet, but it filled the endless library. "It means you may write. They say sometimes if you are lost in a storm or wandering alone in the dark, you may see a library where no library should be. Its shelves are endless. Its books know more than they should. Some people who enter are never seen again, and some, very few, return with a blank book in their hands, one they can fill themselves, one that no shelf can predict. No one knows which fate Eleanor chose, but if you ever pass through Hollow Road on a rainy night, and you see a glow through the mist where no building should be, listen closely. If you hear footsteps echoing softly between the shelves, perhaps she is still walking there, book in hand, deciding how her story should end.